Forward to the clap. I'm sorry, Will, are you ready?
Yes, now that I have what I'm supposed to read in front of me, I am ready. Okay. Good morning. This is the Town of Yarmouth Open Space and Recreation Plan Ad Hoc Committee meeting of June 2nd, 2023. And before we get started, I have to read some fun things to you. Number one, this is to formally advise that as required by MGL Chapter 30A, I'm not even going to say it, 18 to 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, as extended by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. The OSRP Ad Hoc Committee will hold a public meeting at the date and time noted on the notice of meeting. Public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided on the notice of meeting available on the Town of Yarmouth website. So let's take some attendance after I take off my binders. Okay. Steve Sazansky.
Present.
Gail Charette.
Present.
Ellie Lawrence.
Present.
Christine Marzigliano. Not here.
Vacationing.
All good. And then if the other nice people who are sitting in this room can identify themselves, please, for the record.
Brittany Durienzo, Conservation Administrator.
Roby Whitehouse, Public Works.
Kathy
Roby
Williams, Town
Sorry.
Planner.
either doesn't want to be seen or I don't know, but she is here. And nice people on screens. Can you identify yourself?
Bill Benetti, Natural Resources.
Lauren Shunk, Weston and Sampson.
All right. Oh, hi. Oh, I see. You sit right in front of the fan when it
As
comes
soon
up.
as it came up.
Smart. Thank you all for being here. We definitely have some work to do.
Yeah.
Kathy, I will turn it to you to talk about, where we are, chapters 4 and 5. I don't know,
Yeah.
where you want to start.
Yeah, Lauren has to leave at 10. So I think what we really want to do is concentrate maybe on going through chapter 4. There's some remaining questions and maybe we can get some answers. Oh, Anthony's here as well.
Hi, Anthony.
On that, and then maybe do a brief overview of the survey results and seeing whether there's any modifications that they would be recommending for the implementation based on the survey results. So up to you, Lauren.
Sounds good. All right, so I am sharing chapter 4, environmental inventory analysis. So we've had some back and forth with some comments, and some of them, as Kathy had mentioned, we've already addressed, but we'll step through and try to talk about anything that we have that's still outstanding. So I will just
That's what she has
scroll
on
through.
I only printed out a certain number of copies because I feel like I'm murdering trees on a rampage.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I think it's right there.
Right
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've made some mapping updates already. We still have a little bit of mapping coordination with our GIS team to do, but we've brought in a new soils map here.
Oh, great.
Rolling.
So we're just rolling through. We've
Wait,
picked up a lot.
What page are you
She's
on?
trying to get to
So
a
we
page.
are on,
Okay.
it might be easier for me to do simple markup. It's confused with all the track change. We're going to go through, and once we've kind of done this round, we're going to accept all the track changes. So it's easier, but we wanted to keep them in there. So the first comment that's,
Right.
Lauren, can you please
this
tell us
is
what page you're on?
page,
Thank you.
page 7.
11. It's page 11 for the marked up version.
Oh,
Okay.
all right, thank you, Kathy.
Maybe we should go with 4.3.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is a comment. So I brought in, Bill had some comments as well. So his comment, we used to have 8 overall, 5 of which were improved ramps. The website shows one of the improved ramps. And so I guess our question outstanding, we can just incorporate this information here.
I think
Unless
we
there's
just wanna-
any other discussion that we.
Can we just identify the number that we actually have that are usable and then just leave it at
7.
that?
7?
Seven.
Okay,
Thank you.
That
Not 17.
great.
That's different.
Oh, no, sorry, never mind.
We're on
Okay,
page
looking-
11 on the right. You'll see midway down, we're talking about the access to water available.
It says boat landings on
Yep.
that, so,
Yeah, that says something totally different.
it does.
Okay. All good.
That's good.
So- So the only thing, yeah, I'm sorry, keep going, Lauren.
Oh,
I just had one other comment on this page about the APCC info and whether it makes sense to
Yes.
include any of that.
okay. Yep, so that's the next comment here. So I was just gonna talk about updates to surface water quality and wetland protection, and then, yeah, you had responded with the APCC. And then Bill had a couple of comments on it as well.
Yeah. But also while we're on that, because I was dealing with this the last couple of days. With the APCC water test, they have a different, Kathy, you might know this, but they've got a different criteria for testing. They have different standards. So in other words, like when our health department test a bathing beach, say on a freshwater pond, say at Long Pond, they go by the state public health standards as to whether to open or close that bathing beach for swimming. But APCC, they might trace like a minute trace amount of cyanobacteria, and instead of calling it low, they'll call it moderate or high. And it causes like a contradiction. It causes like kind of a panic for people. And then they say, well, why is this open for swimming? And then our health department has to kind of backtrack and say, well, because we go by this different standard. So I've just been dealing with this the last couple of days. And I think our health department is kind of leery of sharing too much stuff from APCC because there's some conflicting data or conflicting terminology on levels. So I
What do you-
just to throw that out there.
I know that you had mentioned the APCC. What do you think?
I'm not familiar with their standards that they use. I just know that they conducted the quality monitoring, so if Bill says that they're inconsistent with what they use, I agree that we should.
Should we include anything from the health department? I mean, is that what you're looking for? For this is, I mean, obviously they're looking for very limited things. I think they're looking for E. coli and is that it? What is the health department looking for at theirs? And it's only the bathing beaches, right, Bill?
Right, they're only doing the town bathing beaches, mostly E. coli, I think, but yeah, they would be looking for cyanobacteria as well. I have to talk to Jay today because, you know, I had a homeowners association on Big Sandy Pond saying, why isn't the town having APCC test this pond again? Well, lo and behold, they blamed it on me, saying that I told them we don't have funding. I said, I never talked to them. It was Bruce Murphy before he retired, said the town doesn't have funding for this. We're going to deal with just the, county health department and do the testing on our own. So what I have to talk to Jay about is like, if on one of these other ponds where we don't have a public bathing beach, but there might be an association beach, if we see like an algae bloom pop up that looks like it could be cyano, could I on a case by case basis have the health department help me get that tested? So I still need to work on that. Like, this is just, like I said, something I just started dealing with the last couple of days.
So it sounds like we don't want to include the APCC, but we might want to embellish this section a little bit more with regard to the testing that the health department does.
Yeah, and I can follow up with Jay on that and get back to everybody about
Great.
that.
Yeah, it would be good to know what they test for, which beaches they test, and then is it on the town website of like what it's been? Like, have there been any closings recently and that type of thing because of the testing?
Right.
Yeah.
And we're talking about public only, right? Because I know at our camp, which is
Yeah.
semi-private, it's tested by the county.
Oh,
It's not even tested by the town.
but that's what he was saying.
So that's why I think there's another, well, I don't want to confuse things, but if we're talking about just public, then we'll just leave it where it is and not get more confusing when you get to semi-private.
Okay. All right, so Bill, you'll follow up a little bit on that and provide us with some information?
Yes, and Will, I might hook up with you too, because that's kind of what I
It's
wanted to
interesting.
figure out. So,
Yeah, sure, Bill, absolutely. Please do that. We've, for the 19 years we've been doing this, every Monday, a nice young person with a Barnstable County Health Department tags and water shoes and official Ziploc bags and whatever they bring shows up, takes a big old sample, says hi to everybody and walks out. And then we get something in the old fashioned US mail like 4 days later with a count.
Excellent.
But we can talk more. That was probably
Okay.
more than anybody
Thank
here
you.
needed to know. Okay,
That's good.
thank you.
All right, Lauren.
That's good. Okay, so jumping to the next comment, this is right
Page
before,
17 in our version.
so 4.3.1 at the end of table 4.1. The table on improved title restrictions. We have a question about any other culvert replacements or information here for Amanda.
Oh, by the way, Amanda is on the Zoom.
Amanda, can you hear us?
Sorry, it was a little bit off. I got a new camera, but I haven't connected it. So sorry about that, but I did hear my name. So, you know,
We're just wondering if you can provide that list of culvert replacements. They can just be the larger ones. They don't necessarily have to be super detailed, but
yes, Rosalie did work, our summer intern, on those lists, so I can send those over after the meeting.
perfect.
Great. All right, so this is, I'm gonna give page, it's after 4-2.
Page,
This is talking
20.
about,
page 20. Because I've already highlighted the ones that I know we need to add.
so talking about primary sites for rare plant and animal species that should be protected. There's some discussion about Dennis Pond, and the question was really just, is there any other information or additions to this section that you would like to include for either Brittany or Bill?
I don't think I have any additions, but I couldn't find the citation or the reference where the Nature Conservancy sent these things,
Okay,
where that comes from.
okay. So maybe we can take a quick look too, if it seems worthwhile to try to figure out what this information came from.
Can I jump in? Because we're on
Yeah.
we're on Alicia's pond, and if I remember, and Christine would probably correct me, but she can't correct me because she's not here. I'm pretty sure when we were talking with NSTAR 15 years ago about them possibly building a substation
Yep.
between Little Greeno and Perch / Alicia's Pond, in this little necklace, as they call it. One of the things I believe we did talk about was there was some thinking that this necklace of ponds had some environmental importance beyond just being important themselves. So I'm pretty sure that comes from somewhere good. I just can't remember. And again, Christine has a mind like a steel trap. She probably could
Yeah.
remember where it comes from, but
I think I know where it comes from now, but then I think about it for 5 seconds.
Oh.
The new biomap is made by the Nature Conservancy and NHSP, so it must be a biomap critical landscape. So that's something
There you
we
go.
should definitely specifically cite if it is a critical landscape.
yeah, of course, you have to actually look it up and make sure it is, but
Yeah,
it
I
would
think
make
that's
sense
great.
in the context of what I remember from 15 years ago, which isn't very much.
Yeah, because I don't know what else the Nature Conservancy would have said specifically about those,
Mm.
but I think it makes sense that it would be in the.
So they do the NIP biomaps.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the next one. So under 4.3.3, it's another comment about the APCC study. So I don't know if that conversation still holds true in this context as well, or if there's anything else that you'd like to include here.
Hey, Bill, is Dennis Pond gonna be one of the ponds that the Cape Cod Commission is testing as part of their freshwater initiative? Do you know?
Hold on, no, I'm gonna have to find out.
Yeah, they might not have been, it might have been too early, but the commission oftentimes will have an initial meeting with town, and they did, and then they're doing a ton of work in the background that we don't know about
Yeah.
until they come back to us with the results, so.
Yeah. I thought everything was gonna be the same in terms of pond sampling.
Who's leading that at the commission? Do you know? Is that Heather McElroy?
Oh,
No, I don't think so. It's funny, the emails have been coming through Jeff, I think. I haven't corresponded with them directly, even though we were doing the sampling. So I need to follow up probably with Jeff on that and see where that's at, to be honest.
Because it might just be a case where we insert something in here saying as part of the Cape Cod Commission's freshwater initiative, these ponds are also going to be tested or have been tested or in the process of being tested.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just do that.
I'll try and talk to the commission and just see where they stand on it.
Yeah.
if you can't get any answers, I know Heather pretty well. She's sort of a
She's wonderful.
neighbor. She's also wonderful. So Bill, I'm not like you need my help, but if you do, let me know.
No,
I'll send Heather an email.
Yeah.
feel
Heather-
free to reach out because we were the ones going and taking the samples and dropping them off. So
For the freshwater
it's
initiative.
been on my list. Yeah, for the freshwater ponds too. Our shellfish constable, who's retired and has been out for 8 months now, but now is retired, was leading that up. So it is something I need to follow up on.
Okay. All right, so we will, town staff will follow up and get back to you, Lauren, a little bit on that. But we'll leave it as is right now, but we may embellish it later.
Sounds good. All right, next comment. At the end of 433, for Brittany, Bill, do you know of any updated studies here? So this is referencing a study on the acid rain monitoring project in between 1983 and 1985, and there have been some updates to it, but none of it included Yarmouth ponds. Like this, it looked like this effort kind of got really scaled down over the years. So I don't know if there's any information you want to embellish here.
Sorry.
No, the only thing that's new that's going on is the Long Pond study that I just got going with Horsley Witten. So that's an overall study for the health of the pond, eutrophication, just an overall studies. I don't know if this would be a spot to include that.
Okay.
I think it would be a good place to, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Gail's
reading
raising her hand.
here, it says soft, the water's soft, acidic water usually is not soft. Alkaline is what makes it soft. So I'm a pool, I'm so cool and do water testing, so
No, what page is it?
it's on page 12.
So,
I mean, I'm not sure why they say it's soft, but. 22, excuse me. I have bad eyes.
Oh, at the very end of that
Yeah,
top.
it said soft. I don't know if you want to change, I mean, it's not true.
Well, if it's not true, it probably shouldn't be in there.
It says it feels soft.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel soft. In fact, it feels, it's more acidity, feels more scratchy and abrasive, and it's not soft. You can check it out and, you can that. Look up water alkalinity.
Does acidity make it clear though?
Makes it very clear.
Yeah, so let's just take out and feel soft.
Yeah.
And then we just don't
Yeah,
have to
right.
do a bunch of research on water softness.
And also, thanks to this process,
Thank you, Gail.
especially if you're over the age of 40, you've now heard the term acid rain again for the first time in God knows how long. So if you're under the age of 40, you're probably like, acid rain, oh my God, what the hell is that? But that's something that for those of us of a certain age was like,
Big deal.
I don't know, kind of scary.
It's very good. Yes.
And it still is a thing, but
Oh, yeah,
not as maybe as much of a thing as all the other things that are things now.
brings on
Worst
much
thing.
the algae.
Right.
That's what it brings on.
Oh, that
Okay.
helps. Yeah, I didn't know that she had that.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
So the next comment just below that, in the past 5 years, measures have been taken to restore some fresh and brackish ponds. This was just a question about the update on the time frame.
Is this still happening? I mean, this
Yes.
report is very old.
No, we still, well, we've gone to, instead of the windmills, we've gone to solar panels and, but we still run pumps in those areas to, get more oxygen into those areas to try to decrease the stagnation. But we've gone to solar panels instead of the old metal windmills that we've had. So so it's been going on, when this was written, it said in the past 5 years. Now it's,
Instead of in the past.
add however many more time to that.
Maybe
Well,
Ellie had a great suggestion.
Yeah, instead of the past 5 years, how about the town continues to measure?
Yeah. Yep,
Continue.
exactly.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
I don't, and just instead of experimental windmills, we would just say solar panel aerators.
Yeah, solar driven aerator pumps.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just take out the experimental windmills.
Yep.
It's not really experimental at this point. It's just been a practice we've been doing all these years now.
So they're still at Run Pond and Swan Pond?
Yeah, yes.
And what about Army Corps and Run Pond? I mean, they've already done their reconnaissance. This was an old.
Yeah.
So what? Is the town is actually, have we kind of invigorated looking at Run Pond, that title restriction, or are we doing anything special there?
Well, where are we at with that, Amanda?
I'm not fully sure, to be honest. I don't, there's so many moving parts. I think-
Yeah, I mean, well, you've got the low-lying road thing going on, but that's not
Right.
really,
Right, yeah,
anything-
because where we kind of left it was that we're to kind of go off a little bit up tangent, was wrap up this MVP, concluding that it didn't really hit all the nails on the head for where we were trying to go, I think, big picture wise. And then focus on the packet landing that you were working with Brittany. And then next year to submit for MVP for looking for emergency egress, and that would pick back up Ron Pond Road, but in that area, but essentially what it concluded by doing that little bit of the low-lying roads was that Ron Pond Road is probably a road we wouldn't even want to try to, save, in the sense it might be another means of egress another which way. So that might not even be related to that whole project.
I would take out the reference to the Army Corps and that whole sentence, just because that's still something that's long term. I don't know anything about the Comaquid Long Pond Association. I think we should just take that out as well. My only question is, if we're talking about measures that we've taken to improve, do you talk about? I mean, we did widen the Parkers River to really improve the water quality in St. Pond. I think we talk about that elsewhere. Is it worth talking about here? We just put leave the first couple sentences in. I'm
yeah,
fine with just the first couple sentences.
I am too.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
I agree.
Yeah.
So we'll just get rid of those last two sentences, Lauren, and then make those edits on the first two.
Sounds good. Jumping to the next one. So there's a couple of questions about this. We are updating, we have this information in GIS, so our team is working on that. Jumping to, it's page 436, and all the town
27.
water department controls approximately 1,000 acres of land around its 24 wells. So just a question if there's anything to add or if there are any updates here
Yeah.
for Brittany or Bill.
I think I can maybe offer an update. I would say, I mean, we keep saying 965 acres everywhere else, so, I mean, we can probably just say that, but we also, at the 2022 Fall Town Meeting, voters authorized the purchase. I can send you this language of approximately 9.6 acres off Higgins Pearl Road for wellhead protection, using the CPA funds and the water supply protection grant. So I can send you that language,
Okay,
Lauren.
sounds good.
We haven't finalized the sale, but it was voted at town meeting. We do have the funding for it.
For the mess, this is just a note for us. So we're working on updating this and coordinating it with the appendix. This is for me, page 23. Under 4.5. The 1980 Yarmouth Conservation
33.
Recreation Plan identified prime wildlife habitats on Route 6A. So this is the Dennis Pond Complex. Any other updates, but I think that this probably, the discussion we had earlier about the biomap 3, I think sounds like it would apply to this as well. So I don't know if there's anything else to add.
Yeah, I think that's just the biomap, and it's just now called the updated biomap. They stopped with the numbers, so they don't have to put a new one every time they update it. So they're just going with biomap now.
Sounds good.
Does it have a date on it?
It was updated in 2022,
Okay.
November.
Okay, thank you.
And they have an interactive GIS map online. I'm not sure if it's downloadable. I emailed it to you, I guess, this morning.
Yes. Yeah. So we were able, and that jumps to the next question. So I'll take out, I think I had changed it to biomap 3, but change it to biomap in all instances. So we were able to download it. And so our GIS team is working on creating a map and getting the data that we need from that. So
Great.
this is another one we've updated. This has already actually been updated based on the biomap file. And then jumping to a couple of questions from Kathy. This is my page 24. I don't know which section this is in.
Page 34, yeah, thank you. This is more questions for Bill.
Yeah. The recreational shellfish permits, yeah, it's always around 1,000 a year that we will issue. It hovers around that 1,000 mark.
And then the shellfish aquaculture operations.
Commercial aquaculture operation, marine beds leased from town of risen from. That is true, and it's going to be one more. It's going to be going to 7 shortly. Was the Joel Boyce's
Yeah.
plan get all approved by Concom, Brittany? Is
Yes, they
there
did.
anything else you need from him?
No, I think they're all done.
So it's going to be 7.
Why don't we just say risen to 7?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then on the same page, are these areas still closed?
Yes, that's still accurate.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So page 35 at the top.
Can you stop at the grist mill one there? Yeah, right there.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I just want to make sure that shows that that project is done. And in addition to, well, I don't know how much detail you want, But by expanding the fish run, they redid that whole fishway that you see from Route 28, but also behind the scenes, we went in with the state and volunteer groups and cleared the stream between the Baxter Gristmill Pond and Little Sandy Pond, and the state, the last 2 years, has stocked Little Sandy with pre-spawn herring. So that we're totally restoring the historical run that went all the way up to Little Sandy Pond.
Lauren, can you show the actual red line edits? Because there was something that I deleted there that might still be true.
Okay. Yes, when I show
It's gonna
edits, I might have to like scroll.
spin you all over the
place. Okay, so I think it was page 35 that you had.
correct. Yep.
Yeah, I've been doing it, but it gets a little like hung up sometimes when it's a little choppy. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
So were you talking about reopening the Mill Creek Run from Mill Pond to Little Sandy Pond that's blacked out there?
Yeah, those are different things.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
The Baxter Grist Mill and why that is the Little Sandy Pond run. And then extending the Bass River run farther upstream to Miss Thatcher's. And reopen Mill Creek run from Mill Pond to Little Sandy Pond. Yeah, so reopening the Mill Creek run from Mill Pond to Little Sandy Pond is separate from the Bass River run to Miss Thatcher's Pond. That Miss Thatcher's Pond, that's what Friends of Bass River are working on with that project of restoring that wetland up there, that old bog. And that run.
So do we want to keep the reopening the Mill Creek Run from Mill Pond to Little Sandy Pond and just take out the other things? Because we can talk about,
I would do that for now, yep.
all right, thank you. So we'll just leave in that last part,
Right.
Lauren, the reopening the Mill Creek and then keep the other delete. Awesome.
Sounds good.
And
Okay.
there's one other question for Bill there.
Yeah,
Y-
fish run.
Really put-
Yeah,
oh,
you
okay, hold on.
expanded that artificial reef, right?
Yep.
Recently?
Yeah, we have, so.
It's artificial reef. not
Yeah, not
reef.
reef.
Oh, let me just look at this. for a
I
second.
just noticed that.
You don't need any more reefs.
Cause when was this last plan written?
2015. So it's
Yeah,
been
so-
since then.
I would say that this is another case where in partnership with Marine Fisheries, the town has continued to expand the artificial fish reef off of Bass River with approved material. There's been multiple projects that,
Okay,
yeah,
with suitable material.
Yeah. let's
Yeah.
continue to Expand. Consistent.
we just so everybody, we no longer use the tires. It,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing is just continue, the town has continued to expand.
Oh, yeah. Again, with the excellent use of the word continued, from Ellie, in partnership with the Mass Division of Marine Fisheries, the town has continued to expand the artificial reef.
right.
That's perfect. Love it.
All right. Jumping to the next comment. So scenic resources, I think this one has been addressed for now, unless there's anything folks want to add. Kathy called out some,
The north side does exist. I sent you that
yes, yep.
information. We had to do some more research on that. It does exist. Unfortunately, I don't think many people in town know about it or how it's restricted or regulated because it's part of Old Kings Highway and they just do their Old Kings Highway thing. So that would be remain in.
Sounds good. And so we will make those mapping adjustments. Just a comment, because we have the biomap information. We were going to update this with a couple of more recent photos. We have some of our own, but if folks had ideas or other photos or specific places that you wanted to call out for scenic resources.
Photographs. Ellie does a lot of photography. So she,
I have a drone shot of Grace Beach.
yeah,
Ooh,
But that would be
That's cool.
beautiful.
yeah. So if she's
Actually,
willing
yeah,
to,
yes.
yeah. Is that
Actually, it's a drone video, but I can do individual pictures off it. Let me go through my stuff. I probably have a better cranberry picture in there too, if I can find it. I'll take a look.
Thank you.
great, thanks.
It's gonna be a rainy couple of days. I have time to. take it.
It better be rainy because I'm tired of this pollen and no
Yeah.
rain.
Oh, good
Thank you.
point.
I'm off the soapbox.
I'm torn. I like the sun.
All right, so jumping down to contamination sites, page 45. So a comment to update this list. So I took a quick look. It looks like there are 154 total. And so that's, and then we still have the discussion about Peter Homer Park, which I think still is relevant. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to include in this section.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Homer Park was constructed on top of the old landfill, right?
Mhm.
Roby, yeah,
That's correct.
yeah, that's all good.
Cool. A question from Kathy. When was this last updated? The harbor management plan on page 46.
Um,
Does that get updated regularly, Bill? If not, we'll just leave it as is. I just didn't know there was a recent
no,
one.
leave it as is.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest. And I asked Carl about this, like there's a big binder that he left in his office that was more or less a draft, according to him. So let's leave it as is for now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So recent drainage improvements, Kathy and Amanda.
Yeah.
So this one is specifically talking about the drainage outlet pipes that do not have stormwater pretreatment systems.
Yeah, I know I have a list. I gotta figure out how to delineate ones that don't have treatment. I can look on that. Because most of them have some form of infiltration with like an emergency overflow or they have a BMP, so I can try to figure out in GIS which ones I can pull out.
Okay.
I think when we were looking for it for the Riverwalk Park or what other projects and taking credit, there was a nice table that goes into the MS4 that identified the BMPs that were completed. I think there was 4 with some CZM. Is that just maybe highlighting those that were recently completed?
Oh, sorry, I think I misread your note. Weren't you looking for the ones that don't have treatment?
I think that both would be good to include. The language that this is specifically talking about is the ones that do not
Improvements.
have pretreatment systems. But I think if both information's available, we should show both.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought we were trying to add to that, the work includes improvements to the drainage at and then list the things that have been improved. I just don't want to make extra work for Amanda. I mean, there's a lot of culverts in the town of Yarmouth
Oh,
that
yeah.
don't have any, treatment on them. So it sounds like here we're rested, the work is diligently to improve water quality. So we're talking about what we've done to improve it. And these are some examples of projects that we've done, I thought. Like here, these are,
Yes, yeah, the
Right?
table 4.3 is the summary of improvement. So maybe above it where we're talking about that ones that don't, we can simplify that language and call out more the ones that do. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Well,
I'm
the-
just-
The table itself stops at 2014. Can we update that?
exact, yeah.
Yeah, I have those, sorry.
Okay.
Can you help me with that? So I can definitely provide that.
I think we just want the improvements that you've been working on already. And then, regarding the question with regard to Mass DOT, we don't know where Mass DOT discharges, but I can guarantee you they discharge untreated into an EJ population.
Mhm.
Because we have so many in that area along Route 28 that are environmental justice areas. So no one, I know that the note said something about confirm where these are, but I don't think anybody's gonna do that. But I do know that they do
Okay.
have the charges.
Yeah, this was from, so for the environmental justice information, we have a planner who's been working on updating that language. Because one of the common comments that the state comes back with in this section is regarding incorporating more EJ information into it. So that's kind of the background on some of these comments. And then as we get to the end, you'll see there's a lot of language that's been added about that as well. Okay. So this was a comment that Brittany had. So I think that we received these comments. And so we can incorporate the language here. This was a comment on the environmental equity section. There's a sentence, Yarmouth has made a strong commitment to the setting aside of lands for public use and natural resource protection. This was just a comment to see if there's anything else to add here to this introduction.
I kind of like it as a community, Yarmouth has made a strong commitment. It's not to the end of just dealing with the EJ populations. It's just as a community we have. So I guess I wouldn't edit that sentence personally. But I thought you did a great job adding a bunch of additional information on all of this, which is great because I do know that EJ populations are something important.
And then going down to contamination sites. So there's a couple of sites that were called out here. Status of cleanup at the DPW. I know that there was some follow-up about that as well. And then the laundry site is not owned by the town, so put a couple of comments in here about how it's privately owned and how that is contributing to the contamination for the other couple of AUL sites noted below. So I don't know if there's anything else that people wanted to add here.
Are you talking about that laundry site?
It's
That's
the blue
closed?
tile. It's the
Oh,
blue
okay.
tile place
Right.
now.
No, Okay,
It's across the street from the former Yankee Village.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So, what, you don't know that?
Oh, that closed a long time ago.
It did, but it will forever be known as the Acme Laundry. Center. I think the rest is just some good add-ins that you have here, and then you put in the EJ map. So unless anyone has any other comments, it's 9:45. It might be good to get Lauren's overview of the survey.
Sure.
And then we can talk about chapter 5 after she leaves. Sorry to rush everything along.
All right.
That's right.
We wanna
just
stay-
go,
we wanna
just
stay-
go.
We want to stay on target, Kathy. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Lauren, have you made any edits to chapter 5 at all yet?
We have not made edits to chapter 5 yet.
I'm just thinking if I get
There
anything,
were,
if we get anything out of this meeting, should I edit the version that I sent you and then resend it to you? I don't want you to have made some edits and then me make some edits on an old version.
for chapter 5.
Right, after you
I
leave.
think, so though, for chapter 5, what you have is the most up to date now, and then I can just send you the chapter 4 that we just went through so that you have that
Yeah.
information.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So can everyone still see my screen?
We're seeing chapter
Should
4.
have changed. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see. Um, all right, so this hasn't been circulated with the group yet. But what we have done with the survey is started to incorporate it into the 7-year action plan. So the implementation table that we've been working on. Overall, for the survey, so I guess to back up a little, we had asked kind of 2 types of questions. One about prioritizing the objectives. So folks were asked high priority, medium priority, low priority, or I do not agree with this objective. And then we went through each action item and respondents were asked to rank it as extremely important, somewhat important, neutral, somewhat unimportant, not at all important. So across the board, what people have said is that everything is falling under high priority for the objectives, in a few instances, medium priority. And then with the action items, most of them are coming out as extremely important, a few instances of somewhat important, and 1 instance of neutral. So that's kind of the overarching response that we are getting. So people agree that all of these are very high priority and very important. We got, I think it was 417 responses in total, 6 in Portuguese and 2 in Spanish, I believe. And so based on that, we have been going through and we have the prioritization category for this implementation table here, and we've been adjusting it, and I've did it with track changes too, and I'll send this out as well, based on what respondents have indicated in terms of their prioritization and level of importance. We have also pulled out a objectives table and created a priority column there too, since we do have this information from the survey. Our thinking was that maybe it would be good to call out a table that specifically goes over the prioritization of each of the objectives.
So what made you decide something was high or medium? Was just whatever the highest percentage was of the options got?
Yes, so for the objectives, it was people were, since they were asked high, medium, or low priority, we just based it off of what the highest share of respondents, like if most people said high priority, then we called it high priority. I went through and starred the ones that it's a highest priority objective within the goal, just to indicate which one out of each goal was the highest priority.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's great.
And then for the action plan, it was high if it was extremely important. We also, and then similarly started to call out which one of the action items came out as the top priority within that objective. And then if it was somewhat important, we're calling it medium high. If it was neutral, it was medium, and then unimportant and not at all important there were no instances where the highest share of respondents indicated that. So we don't have that. So
There's
overall,
patient
there are a
history.
lot of high and medium high priorities.
List of what they mean. So there was nothing that you thought we should take out or?
No, it doesn't seem like based on the survey that there was anything that should be taken out. We've also been going through the other comments as well to verify that. I don't have the summary of those specifically to share, but based on what we've looked at so far with those comments, there really haven't been a lot of comments that are like, this shouldn't be something that we include. So it does seem like across the board, the respondents felt that these were high priority objectives and action items.
If someone asked about a vernal pool, a specific one, Brittany, that maybe I can talk with you afterward.
This is a lot.
It's on page 34, comment 10. It just might be worth, maybe that's one you've already mapped. It's on town property, that's all. Okay, so the survey essentially confirmed what we had got out of the initial survey? Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Do we want to move on to chapter 5 and just get started on it, or? I don't think there's as much on chapter 5. Because I think some of it's some tables I need to figure out how they were ever created to begin with.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 5.
When Lauren leaves, can you share? You'll share it.
I don't think there's a ton in chapter 5, in all honesty.
Mhm.
So maybe we can move along fairly quickly. The only comment I had here in this section under the listing of the frequently open spaces is later you mentioned one of the surveys that Taylor Bray Farm was heavily used. We had highlighted that in a previous in the 2015. So maybe we want to see whether maybe we want to just bring some of that over and mention Taylor Bray Farm as well. That was my only comment there.
Okay. That's good. Okay, appendix B. No,
I'm working on it.
I know that's a long
Yeah.
list.
I'm trying to match the previous list from 2015 to our town of Yarmouth owned land map too. So I'm just trying to double check. They may not have any permanent. I mean, we're looking for permanent protected and they may not be there, and that's why they're not listed. So I'm just double checking on that one.
Mhm. Okay.
5.1, I have no idea. I've asked assessing and GIS to provide some information as to where they think this might have come. I have no idea where this table came from or how it was developed. Same thing with 5.2.
Mhm.
Although I have a better understanding of 5.2. And there's some older map and lot numbers that need correction, but I think I could probably figure out 5.2.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going. I've edited this one already based on the
Okay.
assessor information. Because they do keep track of that code, so that one's an easy one.
And any updates to the public water supply? Wow.
Lori Rosala provided some information that you're going to incorporate, so that's great. Yeah, 5.3. The Hawes Run wetland in West Yarmouth is particularly important for rare dragonflies. Significant new conservation land around Run Pond has been acquired by the town, page 10. Is that something Bill / Brittany, you know anything about, or is that still true about the dragonflies, or do we not?
I do not know.
You know, Bill? Who's muted?
Not even really sure what the weapon is.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I don't know about the dragonflies or even newly acquired land there, but I know the area. I mean, we check people deer hunting in that area. That Hawes Run wetland area. I don't know, to tell you the truth, about
No, I don't.
the rare dragonflies. Do you, Brittany?
I don't.
Does the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program identify them? Like they have a endangered species listed, would they identify it?
Their map doesn't have.
So what it
species.
is, right? 'Cause they don't want people to go and ruin them. I guess if we don't know something, does it make sense not to include it if we can't verify it? Or you're basically assuming that that's true from which could be back to a 2007 report.
I guess the only thing we could ask is ask Christine about new land acquisition, but I don't know about.
That. Yeah. I don't think there's any new land acquisitions that have happened since that. I know there's no CPA land acquisitions that have happened since the 2015, other than
So it's not
Starbuck
new
land in
anymore,
2000.
so-
Right. We could just say, or say significant conservation land instead of new.
Yeah.
Do you want to just do that?
Yeah,
Okay, so
that
we're just
sounds
gonna
good.
get rid of the word new, just say significant conservation land. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for editing that. I think you guys edited that for us. Oh, I edited that one. Damn it. You edited some of the GIS in chapter 4, and I appreciate that because that's harder for me to get to.
Okay, so this one,
Page are we on that?
That, we're on page 13 now?
now,
No, are you beyond that?
so that I think was 541 and now table 5.4.
Yeah, 5.4 I edited, I think, is that, no. The CPA one, and yeah, I edited this one. That's been updated.
Okay.
You just need to total it at the bottom. I started to add it up and I said they gave up.
Is there a reason why it stops? In 2007?
It's not in order. It should be in order of the map number. So we
Ah.
have some in we haven't purchased a lot. We have
Oh, right,
275 Route 28 and Starbuck Lane really since
right.
2015.
So it's done by map number, not by
Yeah,
date.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
yeah. At the end, the last two, we might want to reorder them. Lauren,
Yes.
Right, yep. yeah.
Okay. That was just, this was just about the section that had been moved to the beginning.
I guess public recreation areas, I think Anthony, I don't know an answer to any of these questions on page 17.
Yeah, I have, I'm not sure.
Can you look into it?
Oh, yeah, I have it written down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Anthony's gonna look into those questions and get back to you, Lauren, on that.
Okay. And then I think that applies to this one as well. Number of playing fields.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. And I have to review table 5.5.
yeah, because, flags. on it.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's sorted by management, it looks like? No, not true. I take it back.
No.
I'm not sure how it's sorted.
Again, it's by map and lot for whatever. Oh, no, they
It's
added
not.
some. No, it's not. You're
It's
right. I
just
started
random.
going from,
I
yeah.
would call it random.
All right, well, I can look at that.
Well, I just didn't know. It just struck me as,
It might be in like around town. I don't know.
Oh.
I can look at that.
maybe for consistency, Kathy, if it helps you guys especially. We did map and lot number for the previous tables. We
We'll do
should
the same
probably
thing.
do it
Yeah.
the same.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, and then I guess the last big area that I had, Lauren, was this whole area on conservation areas on page 21.
Mhm.
I don't think any of those recent improvements are recent improvements. And so I don't know whether this is a question for Bill to answer or Brittany, or whether they know anything, but they're talking about the conservation lands and then, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let me just read it for a second.
and we're talking about, you know, a lot of, this whole section, I think, needs to be reviewed for accuracy.
Yeah,
Be Bill and Brittany, because I don't feel any of it necessarily is 100% accurate anymore.
it's not, yeah, it's old information, yeah, I'll read through it all. Make comments.
Okay, perfect.
Sounds good.
That's it.
And then this is, yeah, that's it.
Chapter 4 and
All
5.
right.
Amazing job, Lauren.
Best meeting ever.
You too. That was great. We got through quite a bit.
So you're gonna
Um,
send that section 9 to me?
Yes,
And-
yes,
okay.
I can send all of these. I can just send all 3 of them over so that you have all the comments that we just went through.
Okay,
Page 20, second paragraph talks about ADA portable restrooms at Sandy Pond Recreation. I don't think that's gonna happen.
where
Second paragraph, page 20.
portable restrooms, so no portable restrooms there?
ADA compliant.
Says ADA portable restrooms.
Those are just like a handicap
Porta potty.
accessible porta potty.
Yeah.
There's none
They're
there?
not gonna be there, as far as I know.
Amanda.
I mean,
Wait.
no.
Anthony is the one that's there now.
So, I'm fairly certain it is handicap.
Yes,
The
it
one
is.
that's there now. Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I'm like pretty.
Yes, I think the temporary ones are, but yeah, then there won't be permanent ones. So you can take that out.
So that's accurate then.
Will the
Yes,
temporary
yeah.
ones stay there? You're saying?
Seasonally. Seasonally,
Yeah.
so.
Where-
Open. We put porta potties there.
So maybe that language should be in there.
Seasonally,
Seasonal.
yeah, seasonally might be added.
Yep.
Might want to be added to it.
Also, I spoke to the people that provided company, and they're waiting for approval for this year. It was a while.
She did, Gail says that there's someone, she spoke with someone who said that when they were,
From the company,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just, looking into it, it's about, maybe about 2 months ago, month and a half ago. And they just said to me to make sure that the town is going to be reordering, because they didn't have any reorders at that time.
Right, we went through the bidding process. I believe that the bids were opened and we're going through the signing process, either already done or in,
Yes, so
or had.
either had to be-
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So should,
Thanks, Steve.
so just a quick scheduling thing, and I'm sorry, Lauren, it's getting a little bit past your time. I'm kind of thinking that we still have a lot of stuff to do, so maybe meeting on the 23rd might make more sense than the 16th. I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense to everybody? Because I obviously want to go through one full read through, as I'm sure you do, in order to make sure, and there's still a lot of people providing some comments that need to be incorporated. And 2 weeks really turns into, 7 work days as far as
Right.
getting anything done. So maybe we can, does that make sense with you, Lauren? June 20, what is it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
The 23rd? Yeah, so our next meeting would be June 23rd, and we would not meet on the 16th.
Is there still a possibility we'll need to meet on the 30th? I think we basically said at the last meeting.
Possibly.
We should keep it, please keep it in
Keep it
digital pencil on your calendars. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All
no on the 16th, yes on the 23rd.
Yes.
Is everybody clear on that? Okay,
Did you have anything else to add, Lauren, or are we good?
That's it. I think that for us, we're wrapping up section 6 and 8, which are the 2 last ones. So we'll have those over to you to review. And our plan is to just kind of comb back through, accept the changes, make the few little edits. So we're getting close to having a full draft, which is exciting. So we're getting there.
All right, excellent.
All right, sounds good. So Kathy, I'll send these couple things over to you. And that sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Lauren.
Bye, Lauren.
Bye.
So all I have left is minutes unless there's something else.
Yeah, I think everyone has their marching orders, things that they need to provide. I
Right.
think getting those to us as soon as possible would be much appreciated, and then they can incorporate that in. So we can get closer to that full comfortable draft that we'll probably be looking at
On the
on the
23rd.
23rd. So when she sends section 6 and the other sections, typically staff has been, if we have time, has been reviewing them and providing comment back before you guys see it. And that's why you see some of the comments from staff. So hopefully we'll go through those sections as well, and then provide them any edits. So when you get it, it will have incorporated town staff comments.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about before we vote on minutes and adjourn and get some time in our lives back? Which is great.
I'm impressed that we got through that.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes that were presented.
Oh,
Second.
thanks. Great. Those are the minutes of May 19th. Any discussion on those? Thanks. None? Great. Let's take a vote. Steve Szanski,
Yes.
Gail Charette,
Yes.
Ellie Lawrence.
Yes.
Christine Marzigliano, Will Rubenstein, yes. There you go. Minutes passed. So our next meeting is in 3 weeks.
Yes,
3 weeks.
I think that'll give us a little more time.
Yeah, so we're gonna meet on
For
the
us to review.
23rd. I think we should all definitely keep the 30th. On our calendars, even if it's not a terribly long meeting, it may need to happen,
Agreed.
just to help, all the appropriate parties who are doing the majority of the work. Make sure that everything is kosher so that we can submit the draft, even if it's by the end of that business day.
Yep.
Which would be the last day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, June 30th, I kind of, the deadline for the actual park grants are in July, but I kind of I knew there might be a little bit of scooch. So, if it's early July, it's not that big a deal. They just need to have the draft prior to us submitting anything
Okay,
to be eligible.
all right, so we'll be back here on the 23rd. Thanks, internet friends.
Wait, who's got to adjourn?
I know, we're gonna I'll take a motion for an adjournment, please.
I would make that motion.
Thank you, Steve. Second,
Second,
thank you. Steve Szanski.
Yes.
Gail Charette.
yes.
Ellie Lawrence.
Yes.
Christine Marzigliano. Will Rubenstein, yes, adjourned, done.
Nicely done, Will.
Nicely done, everybody.
Town website or the
Well, this is-
internet. and I
this is-
grabbed it.
this is-
49 minutes, no, 52 minutes of your life back, maybe even more.
That's,
Who knows?
it's just gorgeous.
Anthony, can I ask you a question about backboards?
That is gorgeous.
It's not my-
No, it's the last, for the last
Photography is
19
up
years,
Yeah,
Okay.
when we do our lifeguard training,
This was
Yep.
back in January.
the town rec department has allowed us to borrow a couple extra backboards because we're training so many people,
What it should be.
like dozens
Well,
and
this is
dozens.
also what time of year is it?
for
It's
retraining.
January.
Lifeguard,
Yeah,
lifeguard training on the
That-
pond, we have to
that-
do,
that.
assisted rescue,
Lush.
unassisted
I'm
rescue. all that.
gonna go out there at low
So
tide.
every year we come to you and you're nice enough to share a couple of backboards for a few days.
Yeah,
So how does that work? Who should I talk to and
This is in
what's the
phone, I don't
process?
know how to
Me.
get rid of it.
Hello, you. Well, then, I know that we're sitting here, but maybe you wouldn't mind sharing your phone number so that.
Sure, yeah, 508.
Yeah,
All right, I gotta stop recording. We're done.
294.
29.